I'm Alyssa Devine. This is Penn State Sports Night, and alongside Dave Brown, we're talking NHL hockey. Just started this week, regular season hockey, and I don't know if I could talk for myself, but I'm extremely excited. Dave, how about you?
It was a great first week for NHL. I think everyone enjoyed the first couple games we saw.
So now that the first week started, we're going to make some picks for who we think is going to win the President's Trophy from each conference. So for me, I'm going to pick the Blues from the Western Conference and the Lightning from the Eastern Conference. I'm picking the Blues because they did extremely well last season. The Lightning, they have Steven Stamkos, they have Vasilevsky or Ben Bishop in net, and they also have Johnson, who does extremely well during the playoffs.
I like both those picks. I went a little bit different, though. For the Eastern Conference, I went with the Capitals. I know they won it last year, but I really feel like they could do it again. I think they have the best roster in the NHL right now. You have Alexander Ovechkin, TJ Oshie, Nicholas Backstrom, and then you have Braden Holtby, who won the Vezina Trophy as well. So I think they have a really good chance of repeating that. And I think they have the best roster in the NHL, especially with their third and fourth lines. They have leaders like Mike Richards on there, who I think match up really bad against other teams.
Yeah, I would pick the Capitals, but like you said, they won last year, and teams don't usually win back-to-back. And even if they do win the President's Trophy, they'll most likely make the playoffs, but they're playoff chokers. That's just the fact of it. And Alexander Ovechkin, he fades away in the playoffs. So we're also going to talk about Austin Matthews. He's a 20-year-old first-round draft pick. He scored 4 goals in his first NHL debut, never done before. And it's awesome to see because he's an American player doing it. Dave, what did you see from him in that first game, and do you think he could potentially be the leading goal scorer for this team?
Well, I think if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you have to be really happy with what you saw from him. He looked really good. He was excited. I think the whole fan base was excited, and he looked very professional as he was doing what he was doing out there. You didn't see him celebrating too much. You saw him, hugging and high-fiving some guys, but he looked like a leader out there, and I think the team should be excited for that.
Yeah, and Toronto Maple Leaf fans definitely have a lot to look forward to. I mean, first-round draft pick, always exciting, and seeing a player get 4 goals in their first NHL debut, just amazing to see. He was also my fantasy, so really excited about that.
It's good for you there.
We're also going to talk about Shea Weber, PK Subban. PK Subban, he was traded from the Montreal Capitals to Nashville in turn for Shea Weber. Personally, I think Nashville won that trade. PK Subban is a better all-around player. He's a two-way defensive player, And in modern NHL hockey, you're seeing more of that. And Montreal, they traded away the face of their franchise. I mean, Shea Weber, he's an unbelievable defenseman, but he's only a defender. He can't help in offensive production at all. So I think Nashville won that trade. Dave, what do you think?
I mean, you could say that. I think I would agree that Subban is maybe the better overall player. I think Shea Weber is a better shutdown defenseman, definitely. They're both very good players for their teams. You saw Weber out there this week, and I believe the team started 1-0-1 with him having 2 assists in his first couple games there. So it's definitely looking good for both teams. I think we'll see how it plays out. But
I definitely think Nashville, they're going to come out really strong, and I think they're definitely playoff contenders this year because of Shea Weber. Not sure about Montreal. They struggled last year, so we'll have to see if Shea Weber can help them out. And last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite teams. I'm a New York Rangers fan. Dave over here is a Flyers fan.
Philadelphia Flyers.
Personally, I think the Rangers will make the playoffs this season. They have a lot of younger guys. They're faster. They have Micah Zibanejad. Kreider's going to take that next step. Henrik Lundqvist is still in his prime. And the Flyers, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They might have that opportunity to do so, but they're a young, inexperienced team, and I just don't think they have that in them to make the playoffs. And if they do, they're gonna leave the first round.
I disagree there. I'd say they have a couple good veterans on the team. They have a lot of very good young talent that's making the team this year with Travis Konechny and even Provorov, who both look very good throughout the preseason and their first couple games with the Flyers. You have guys like Wayne Simmons, Claude Giroux, who I believe can really lead the team to the playoffs and possibly far. They've been there before. It's going to be interesting to see. The Rangers...
you think they're making the playoffs this
year?
Maybe,
possibly. I don't know.
All right, well, we're going to see how they do for the rest of the season, and we're going to keep you updated every Monday night here at PSSN. So we're going to end our segment here. I'm Alyssa Devine alongside Dave Brown, and this was your NHL segment here on PSSN.
Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Caitlin Kaminsky recapping Week 6 of the NFL season. Colin Kaepernick had his first start of the season against the Buffalo Bills, but he could not deliver. Rex Ryan and the Bills clobbered the 49ers in a blowout 45-16 victory. Odell Beckham Jr. had a great week for the Giants after a 222-yard game defeating the Baltimore Ravens with a 66-yard touchdown, ending the game 27-23. Also during the Giants game, Eli Manning made his 200th start for the Giants. This makes him the 6th quarterback in the NFL history to start at least 200 games for one franchise, joining his brother Peyton on the list for his time with the Colts. Dak Prescott shined as he filled in for Tony Romo and the Cowboys, throwing 247 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 30-16 victory. With this win, Dallas has moved their record to 5-1. While the Carolina Panthers are still looking for answers with a 1-5 record. The Seattle Seahawks improved to 4-1. Back to the East Coast, Tom Brady did not let the suspension get the best of him. Brady went 376 yards in a 35-17 win against the Bengals. Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers fell 30-15 against the Dolphins. Tonight, the New York Jets will meet the Arizona Cardinals in Phoenix.
Welcome to the MLB Playoffs Update. I'm Grant Thomas, and with me is Stephanie Molina. It's been a wild few weeks of postseason action on the diamond, with 2 convincing sweeps and a bunch of close games. We'll begin with the recap of the division series. First, in the NL, the Dodgers and Nationals squared off. The Dodgers won that one 3-2. Crucial moment, Game 5, 1-run game. Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers, brings in closer Kenley Jansen in the 8th inning and starter Clayton Kershaw in the 9th inning to close out the game. What did you think of the great managing between Dave Roberts and the manager of the Nationals, Dusty Baker, in that series and in that game?
I think it was an amazing play that Dave Roberts and the Dodgers did, bringing in Kershaw at the last minute. Kershaw has been their go-to person, and with his 12-4 and his 1.69 ERA this season, he's just doing amazing. And I think that was a great choice because he has not let them down. The Giants versus the Cubs. The Cubs won 3-1. It was a very close game for all of them, and the Cubs had a great mix of offensive players who won with historic 4-run 9th inning in the deciding game. Javier Baez made some great plays throughout the series. What did you think of his outstanding plays and how he's performing?
He's been great for the Cubs. I don't think he's going to be the X factor that decides whether the Cubs go all the way this season or not, but he's provided that spark on the base paths with his dynamic bat and his great defensive skill at shortstop and second base. He can play a bunch of positions. He's a great utility infielder. He's got a great bat, and he provides that spark at the bottom of the lineup that completes that Cubs complete lineup. They're one of the most impressive offensive teams in baseball right now, and a great small part of that is Javier Baez. Came out of nowhere, wasn't really that didn't have that much of an impact during the regular season, but in the postseason he's made himself known, and it's been great to watch. In the AL, the Red Sox and Indians face off in the division series. The Indians swept that convincingly 3-0. Red Sox pitcher David Price, their star ace, failed again. He has a career 5.54 ERA in the postseason, abysmal. Gave up 4 runs in his start this year, and the Indians' offense showed they are here to stay in this postseason. They're underestimated by a lot of teams. First off, what did you think about the Red Sox star player David Ortiz in his last season?
I think David Ortiz, he's an amazing player, and he's always been an amazing player. Nobody can deny the fact of that. He ended his season with 38 home runs and 127 RBIs, and that was the best that any player has ended with his season, especially being his age. He has always shown his love for baseball, and his fans know that. Everyone across the world knows that, and he will always be remembered as one of the best players in baseball.
That's very true. He was a great player for that Red Sox franchise for a very long time. Secondly, the Indians look dominant in this series. Their bullpen especially. Strikeout after strikeout. They have a bunch of fire throwers in that pen. Is it the best in baseball right now?
I think it is. Nobody expected this from the Indians. The Indians came out of nowhere. Everybody was expecting other teams to perform well, but they didn't. Indians, offensive, defensive, they're just amazing. And I think that they have what it takes to take the championship.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere this postseason, very unexpected, and I'm very impressed with how they've played so far.
Definitely.
As far as the Blue Jays and Rangers, Toronto won 3-0 in that series, for the division series, that is. Toronto's strength, the offense, it looked dominant in that series. The Rangers, after a very strong regular season, they just fell flat in the postseason. Why do you think that was for the Rangers? And also, can Toronto's home run dependent offense carry them to the World Series?
Well, it was a very expectant game, the Blue Jays versus Rangers, especially with Bautista and Odor, with everything that went on. Everybody was expecting that game. It was one of the most watched, I think. And I don't know, I think the Blue Jays, yeah, they defeated the Rangers, but Blue Jays tend to choke up, I feel like. And they do well and they progress and stuff. And then when they get, here, for example, they start to lack what they had all season long.
Yes, very true. And as we're saying now in the championship series, defense and pitching are crucial to postseason success. The Toronto Blue Jays, while they have some good outfield position players such as Kevin Pillar, tons of great catches during the regular season, was spectacular all over the highlight reels. Their defense as a whole, not really going to hold up their decent at best pitching staff. Their offense is really what has carried them to postseason wins in the past, and against a team like the Rangers in the division series, who have a strong top of the pitching staff, but as it gets deeper, it gets a lot weaker. They look good, but now in the championship series against Indians, they're looking bad. Let's segue into that championship series. In the ALCS, it's the Indians and Blue Jays. Right now, the Indians lead 2-0. Game 3 is being played right now, and at this time, the Indians still haven't lost in the postseason. Francisco Lindor in the middle of that lineup, he looks like a future MVP candidate at shortstop. What effect has that dynamic bat and glove of Francisco Lindor added to the Indians in this series?
Well, Lindor is a shortstop for the Indians, and I think that his plays have been amazing. And his offense, defensively, he's been great. And I think that the Blue Jays see that and sometimes, get a little worked up and choked up there. And they kind of are getting defeated by the Indians. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who takes it home and see if the Indians can sweep the Blue Jays, which they probably can do.
Now, in the NL, it's Cubs versus Dodgers. In the NLCS, it's tied 1-1. The Dodgers won last night in a nail-biter 1-0. Clayton Kershaw started that game. He dominated. And historically, after the 7th inning, he has a 28 ERA in the postseason. Terrible. But in this game, he pulled it out. He was very strong. He showed his regular season form in the postseason so far. What do you think of the Dodgers' chances in this series against a very strong Cubs team?
I don't know. It's hand in hand. I feel like the Dodgers, they have what it takes to win, but they cannot depend on Kershaw. I feel like the team and the fans are all depending on Kershaw, but he can only pitch so much. It depends whether the batters, offensively, they can come and bring it as well. Kershaw can't do everything. With the 1-0, I mean, they were lucky with that one home run. I think the Cubs were doing great. Pitching-wise, it's just offensively they weren't there with the whole batting. But because it was just a 1-0 game, it wasn't too bad. It was a nail-biter, as you said. So I feel like that'll be exciting to see who takes that.
And now for our World Series predictions, now that the NLCS is going on. 4 very strong teams in this postseason. Who do you think is going to go all the way to the World Series this year?
I think the Cubs. The Cubs can take it home, yeah.
Okay.
I've been rooting for the Cubs. I'm a Yankees fan, but I've been rooting for the Cubs to take it. For the past 2 years, last year they were doing well, but fell short. And I feel like with the whole Steve Bartman, their whole curse with the GOAT and everything, I think the Cubs can finally break the curse and win. Who do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be the Cubs and the Indians. But the Indians, I believe, will pull this one out. The Indians, a lot of people are underestimating them.
Yeah.
They have, I think, the most complete team in the postseason right now. The offense, 1 through 9, strong hitters, complete hitters, contact power, vision at the plate. Defense, electric, very agile players in the outfield and infield, very important. They can reach balls that a lot of other teams can't reach in the infield. And the pitching, they got a lot of strikeout, pitchers that enjoy the strikeout. I mean, it's a very great counter to the Cubs lineup. A lot of power in that Cubs lineup. They can be countered by that strikeout, and the Indians have that in their pitching staff.
Definitely.
So those are our World Series predictions and playoff update. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.